What's up, guys? This is Gabe from S&P Speed Innovations, and today we're going to talk about installing the air temp sensor. So the air temp sensor is pretty important because that's what reads air temperature, but the location is even more important because we want to be able to monitor it after the supercharger. So we don't want to put it when you have a supercharger setup going on, you don't want it before the throttle body, after the throttle body. We need to see what it is after it's been compressed. So after it's been compressed is the most important part because the compression part of it, the supercharger compressing it, same thing with the turbo, it creates a lot of heat. And that heat temperature difference is way different from the inlet than the outlet. So we want it to be after the supercharger. 5EZs are very important about that. 2RZ, 3RZs, basically anything supercharged, we want to see what the air temperature is. So we went on ahead and put a spot there, and basically it's going to be this sensor right here, which is a 3/8 NPT. This is the sensor we sell with all of our kits. And basically we're going to put it right there, right next to the vacuum source there. Now this is an 8-port head, a 8-port lower intake manifold deal, and it really doesn't matter if it's a 4-port or an 8-port. It doesn't matter. This area here is like the plenum, so all of this is opened, and then you have your each individual runners here. So anywhere in this section is a good spot. Airflow is going to be pretty consistent coming out of here going to that forward cylinder there, so that's why we selected this as an easy spot to get to. Another reason why we selected that is because if you have to set it up here under the intake or under the throttle body, you have to unplug it or change the sensor, whatever it is, just makes it a lot more difficult. That's an easy place to get to when the throttle body is connected. Throttle body goes on, something like that. Air temperature sensor is basically going to be right here. So that makes everything a lot easier, simpler, easy to reach. Of course, this will be a lot lower. So that's the reason why we chose that. Now, why is it important? Well, the hotter the air temperature is, you have to think about it like a diesel. Diesel engine relies on cylinder temperature to self-ignite. And that's just why the older engines like my 7.3 has glow plugs in it, because that just warms the cylinders up and it warms everything up inside so that when it starts to compress the fuel and everything, it ignites with heat. So once it ignites, it creates more heat. So when we have an extreme amount of air temperature coming out of the supercharger coming into the engine, and we're making, let's say, doesn't matter, 8, 9, 10 pounds of boost, whatever it is, if the temperatures are up around 230 degrees, what I've seen, what I've experienced with the 22Rs, 2RZ, 3RZs, and the 5EZs is once you start getting air temperature above 200, 220, 230 range, we get a lot of pinging, a lot of pre-ignition is what was happening. The air temperature is so hot coming into the combustion chamber that it just starts to pre-ignite. And we don't want that. We don't want that pre-ignition because then we got pinging, detonation, stuff like that that's happening. So to minimize that, we want to monitor our air temperature after the supercharger, and then we can start putting in water math injection or something like that, or turn the boost down, put a little larger pulley on it. But it's very important to be able to monitor that. Now, I don't want to say it's mandatory that all systems need to have it, but you probably should, especially if you're trying to go with the smallest pulley possible, trying to get all the boost you can. We probably should monitor it. Now, if you're at different altitudes and stuff like that, air temperature, your ambient air temperature will affect that as well. If you're in a range where you're 45 degrees outside temperature, ambient air temperature, 65, 75 degrees, okay, you're probably not going to be as affected as it would be here in the desert, which would be in excess of 100 degrees, 120 degrees. On some days, we get about 125 degrees here. So if it's on a really hot day, really hot, a really small supercharger pulley, you can bet there's going to be an issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill and tap this spot right here in the manifold, and nothing too scientific. There's no extreme measurement. We just kind of went off the center line from this flange area to there and kind of went off that center line so it's in line, and just give enough distance away so that the sensor is centered in there and there's plenty of meat around. You can still get a wrench or a socket on it, and it's not going to be too close to here. So that's just a good location for it right there. Once we got the blue tape on it, and we found a good spot for it. We just took our punch here, and this is one of those deals we just, and it does one of those deals. So that's pretty cool, pretty simple. And it's got a little punch deal in it. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to start the first hole. Now, as we go through this process, we're going to drill it and we're going to step our way up. The biggest drill bit I have for my drill is a 1/2 inch, and I believe that needs to be a 9/16. So we're going to work with some step drills to see what we can do to get there. To get all the chips out of it, we're going to lightly blow a blowgun through the hole and then take a shot back and try to suck it out of here as we're blowing a little bit of air through here, trying to blow all the metal shavings out of the intake manifold area. So let's get to it. Material there is pretty thick. Step drill may not be in our favor today, but let's see what we can do. You can see the center moved a little bit, but that's okay. We're just gonna walk our way up. So we went on ahead and went up to a 1/2 inch drill there. So we're gonna take a shot vac and we're just gonna get some of this out of here. Now, as I'm gonna get all the stuff around here and I start getting around the intake area, Nathan here is gonna take the blowgun. He's gonna lightly put a little bit of air in here while I try to suck all the shavings this way. It's gonna be important that we don't try to put too much air, try to blow it up into the rotors. We don't want that. You know, just enough air that when we suck it out of here, it just kind of gives a good steady flow. So here we go. We got everything cleaned up, got all the dust and everything out of here, just to kind of give us a good clean area before making it too messy. We already drilled this out with our drill bit, which went up to a 1/2 inch, as big as we get in a drill here. The thickness of this metal is a little thicker than the step here, but we're going to give this a try and see if we can maybe get the tap started with this, and then maybe see if we can force it the way through. So it's not the ideal situation. We just don't have the right drill bit. So we're going to get after it here. Important to try to keep this as straight up and down as you can. Once you get it to start biting and basically driving itself in, you can kind of manipulate your center a little bit. It's kind of important to get it started so that everything is square, but you can always adjust it within your first few threads. Once it's committed, you can't really go back and change it, but looks like we're doing pretty good. It's not sitting there and spinning. It looks like it's still going in. So we're doing pretty good so far. Now, when using a NPT pipe tap, we always run in about 3/4 of your length in the hole, because a NPT, National Pipe Thread, is a taper thread. It's not a straight thread. Because it's a taper thread, just want to make sure that the diameter is big enough, because the tap is tapered as well. Do a test, make sure that we can get this started. I think we're plenty deep there. That's a good spot. That air temperature probe would be definitely in the airstream, and it'll tighten up quite nicely there. So that's going to work out pretty good. So we're going to pull this back out, and we're going to clean this up just like we did last time. Now that can go in there. We'll clean it up, a little bit of brake cleaner stuff, make sure we don't take the paint off, but we'll clean it up, make it all nice and clean. And then we'll permanently mount this in there and make it all nice and pretty and everything just the way it should be. That kind of concludes this video for now. Don't forget to do all the stalker stuff, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. We need that. Let us know if there's more technical stuff you'd like to see, more videos, more content you'd like to see. I hope this paints a picture. I hope this kind of clears things up about the importance of air temperature. It's not crucial if you have a larger supercharger pulley, but it is important when you're trying to get all the boost you can out of it, all the performance. And that is where the water meth injection comes handy, because as your air temperature gets hot, the water methanol will come in and cool that air charge down. I've seen it go from 230 without water methanol and all the boost down to 160. I'm good at 150, 160, 170, no problem at all. Even if it's 180, 190, I haven't seen any type of detonation issues at that point. So I hope that kind of helps to paint the picture and gets that information out there. So like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and have a great day. Thank you guys very much.